Okay, well, here we go. Let's take a look at what happened after day one. Oh my goodness. Well, okay, I'm cheating. I already did take a look, but I just wanted to kind of walk in the door for the whole drama of it. So yeah, you can see the room was pretty well torn apart. And it's a great opportunity to get a sense for where things lie behind the walls, what kind of space you have, what kind of hazards you might encounter. You can see some of the wiring that some of the guys did in the first round of renovations in this place, and that's actually going to the kitchen on the other side of this wall.
Hello. So one of the purposes of these videos is to share with you the learning that has transpired in the past 10 years or so since these videos were originally recorded. And one of the things you'll hear me make mention of a lot are this sort of mysterious prior round of renovations that has happened in this apartment. So when I first moved in, a couple of years before this bathroom renovation took place, I did certain things, fixing cracks in the plaster, skim coating, fresh coat of paint, really basic stuff, with the exception of the electrical. Because I remember a few days after I moved into the apartment, I was in this kind of do-it-yourself mode, and I decided to uninstall this really ugly ceiling fan that a prior resident had installed. And while I was doing that, I took it down from the ceiling. I kind of looked at the wires and touched them, and the insulation on the wires literally just crumbled off in my hands and exposed the bare metal inside. So it was literally falling apart as I was looking at it. I imagine if I had gone, the wires just would have. Anyway, point is they had to go. It just wasn't safe. And so I opted to redo the entire electrical system in the apartment. I upgraded the fuse panel as well, and that allowed me not only to be safer, but also to bring the apartment up to sort of a electrical capacity that's more in tune with how we live in the modern day, where we have tons of devices, things are always charging. You can see in the background here, I've got a studio here, all of those things need to get plugged in. And, the amount of outlets that were in the apartment prior to the first renovation were just not sufficient. Anyway, you'll see, in the video here, talking about wires and things. This was actually from that first round where you can see the new BX wiring that was installed alongside the old stuff, which has since been disconnected.
But then over here, you can see more wiring here. This is where we used to have that hamper, so it's great to see that finally gone. All the times I've wished I could just rip that thing out. And I'm considering doing some kind of a, sunken storage option in there or something, because, the wall cavity is already exposed, and it goes a couple inches back. So if the storage solution juts a few inches forward, you can have a good, 6-inch shelf in there or something like that. So that might be cool. Then over here you can see that all of the yellow tiles have now been stripped. Here's an example of one of those. I'm probably one of the only people in the world who wants to maintain this color. For some reason I just got to like it, so I feel like let's salvage the old tile, reuse it. It's good for the environment and gives it a little bit of character, I feel, rather than those white bathrooms that everybody is doing nowadays. So there's inside the medicine cabinet. We're going to also do some kind of a storage solution here because this is really deep, and there are few opportunities to really store things properly in a bathroom of this size, but we're going to take advantage of every nook and cranny that we have. And there's the sink is missing. Toilet's still there, thankfully, although that's probably going to change pretty soon. I'll have to make some new friends in the building. Yeah, so there you go. Interesting. We also found out that the soffit next to this window over here, a lot of that is just built out with wood. So it's possible that I really could gain a few extra inches there by changing the configuration of that. And the goal of that was to be able to sort of have a marble shelf going along here and also kind of move it into this area. Whereas previously there was wall here. If we kind of reconfigure this wood, I could potentially have the shelf come out this way and then maybe like that, so I'll gain a couple inches there as well. So great. So some things to think about. And then tomorrow we can expect that the rest of this stuff is going to be torn out as well. including the ceiling. That's where it really gets gross up there. And start making some decisions. So one thing that the contractor noticed today as he was busting apart the walls is that, as you can see, that's the very old original shower body inside the walls there. And, excuse me, and right now it's right up against brick. So initially we were concerned that the new shower body, which has a thermostatic valve, actually requires more depth than we have here. However, because the wall actually does go much further back, as we can see, we determined that it's okay, that, you know, we'll be able to literally bust some of that brick out to make space for the new shower body, which is going to eventually live in here. So, problem solved, hopefully. So one other thing we found in the wall that was kind of interesting is this wrapped riser. It appears to be for hot water, probably for the radiators. In fact, I'm sure if I trace it down far enough, I can prove that. But in any event, it's got this really old wrapping on it. And I'm just thinking to myself, my goodness, I certainly hope that's not asbestos. Here I am narrating a video in a small room with a potentially asbestos-lined, shredded pipe wrapping here.
A word about asbestos. Okay, guys, this is really important, and I did not know this. I was very naive at the time. If you are working with a contractor who is not certified in asbestos testing and or abatement, do not listen to them if they tell you, oh, that's not asbestos, don't worry about it. Because, you know, chances are they just want to finish out the job and get paid, and they're not going to be living in the apartment, so what do they care if they kick up some asbestos and then leave, right? But in any event, I recommend to everybody now, if you do encounter something like this and it is the least bit suspicious, you owe it to yourself to get it tested out by a professional. They'll take samples, they'll send it to the lab, and then you'll know what you're dealing with. If I had done that in this case, the remediation expense wouldn't have been that much anyway, because there was only 2 pipes I found that had this on it. So, you know, for the extra money that it might have cost, of course, everyone wants to save a dime, but trust me, this is not the place to do it. Asbestos is no joke. The sooner you can get it out of your home safely, the better.
But you can see here, it's gotten torn apart, not only probably from prior renovations and so forth, but probably mice as well, because they'll just chew on anything.